Arsenal and footballing community. Weekly surgery was always going to come back, even though it's the end of the season. Hashtag episode 32 with your regular man, Albert JTV. But before we get into it, people, let's hit the Albert JTV intro. Arsenal community, you are locked into Albert JTV. Subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. Footballing community, waiting time is now over. The Albert JTV practice is now open. The surgery required is Premier League talk and any other business. Let's get to work. Welcome to the weekly surgery. Yes, footballing community. Lost my words there. Welcome back to Albert JTV for your solo weekly surgery on a Friday evening in late May. Big up to the people who are watching now, right now as we speak. Smash the like button and subscribe to Albert JTV. We are also going live on Instagram Live. So I will save that and I'll put it back out for the people that have not watched this live at the time. And this is also on Facebook, but you have to click on the link to watch this live now. And of course, we're going live on YouTube and across the Twitter feed as well. But people, it's been a while, man. Weekly surgery, episode 32. They have flown by, absolutely flown by. And I will never ever forget my audio listeners who listen to me, my Southeast London dulcet tones. This will go live on. This will go on audio on Spotify. And it will also go out on the Apple download. So please look out for that. I might drop it tonight or I'll probably do it tomorrow because I've got a day off tomorrow. And it's going to have a nice little bit of a rest. But people, I think the 20 of you live watching now on the XE, which is pretty not bad if you're probably watching Coronation Street or Emmerdale's on right now. So I know it's a tough choice. But you've got your resident Albert JTV here. Yeah, man. So let's get into it, people, man. The season's done. It's definitive, man. Manchester City are champions 4 seasons in a row now. What's that? 6 out of 7 years or 7 out of 8 years Premier League titles. Dominance domestically. And you're throwing a couple of FA Cups and Carabao Cups in that, or League Cups, should I say, as well. But listen, Arsenal hit 89 points. most Premier League wins, best defensive record, a bundle of goals scored. I think they said in total across all competitions, was it 113? Is that correct? Drop that in the chat if that's correct. Also, when you watch this back, let me know if that was the factual information that I've given you. But listen, I didn't have a ticket for the game, as I kind of stressed with quite a few people on the socials and privately. And listen, I've got some good contacts in terms of getting tickets to go to Arsenal games. But the last game of the season, if you was an Arsenal fan that tried to get one in the ballot and you didn't get one, it was going to be a tough gig to get one. But I watched the first half at home, and I went down sort of to the stadium, sort of watched the game on the phone, and obviously past the pubs coming back down to the ground. But before we get into Arsenal, let's start with the managerial merry-go-round. As people know, if you haven't watched Weekly Surgery before, obviously it is heavily Arsenal-led, but I do like to talk about Premier League stuff and any other business. That was the point of doing Weekly Surgery, because as much as I love Arsenal, there are a whole host of things to cover. But yeah, managerial merry-go-round, should I say. So I had to write this down because there's a lot going on, even as I speak to you now. The last 24 hours, 48 hours. I'm going to go through some names. I'm going to try and speak about the respective clubs if I can do. But we'll talk about transfers in regards to players. But there's a lot of managers out of work or going to be out of work. Obviously, Xavi has been sacked today as Barcelona manager. I think Hansi Flick's going to go in there from the reports that we've heard. Pochettino, obviously, mutual consent or whatever way it was at Chelsea in the week. Thomas Tuchel is available. Enzo Maresca, who came up with Leicester City. There's a lot of talk about him. Roberto De Zerbi left Brighton. There's Ruben Amorim, Sporting Lisbon. There's even talk about Sebastian Hoeneß, the Stuttgart manager. So, and obviously Arne Slot's gone in at Liverpool now. So there's a lot to talk about, man. And two main people who I forgot, but we'll talk about in more detail, is Thomas Frank and Kieran McKenna, who have done fantastic jobs at respective clubs with Brentford. You've got Thomas Frank. I think he went in there originally. Let me get this right if I can find it. I think Thomas Frank went in at Brentford originally. He started as an assistant. I think it was 2018. But then I think Dean Smith was also sort of was at Brentford, who done a very good job there before he obviously went to Aston Villa. And then Thomas Frank's taken over as a number one. But listen, he's done brilliantly well at Brentford. It's a bit of a tough season last season for them. They was flirting with relegation, but there were 3 teams worse than them, and they got a few results and they saw it through at the end. But that shouldn't be overlooked from the man himself, the Danish Supreme, Thomas Frank. If I remember correctly, he was linked with the Everton job before Sean Dyche got it. I don't know how heavy those links were, but they went with Sean Dyche, and Sean Dyche has had a very good back end of the season at Everton. Not just keeping them up, but moving them progressively up the table. But Thomas Frank's an interesting one, man. He's been heavily linked with the Chelsea job. And I believe it's between him and Kieran McKenna and Enzo Maresca, who's the Leicester City manager who's come up, who worked under Pep Guardiola, I believe it was, if I've got that correct. But you also got Kieran McKenna, who is the talk of the town at the moment. Kieran McKenna has done an amazing job. Again, another one that's worked under Jose Mourinho. It was him and Michael Carrick that worked under Ole. Obviously, Michael Carrick has gone to Middlesbrough in the Championship. He's done a good job. His first job in football, Michael Carrick at Middlesbrough in the Championship, Sky Bet. But Kieran McKenna, man, has been exceptional. Took over at Ipswich in the 2021-22 season, I think it was. He's only 38. He's a very young manager. They came up in the Championship with Ipswich from League One. They came second in League One that season in the 22-23 season, and they've come up in the automatic promotion places to get into the Premier League. Amazing effort from Kieran McKenna. He's been courted a lot, and he's been spoken about with quite a few different jobs, actually. I think he was mentioned with the Brighton job probably not long before the season ended, actually, being touted as a potential head coach to take over. He's been linked with the Chelsea job. He's also apparently been linked with the Manchester United job. And on top of that, obviously doing an amazing work to get Ipswich back-to-back promotions, which is the third time it's been done since Southampton in 2012. I think they amassed, I saw it, 194 points and 193 goals over 2 seasons, Ipswich. It just goes to highlight, even from a statistical point of view, how brilliantly well he's done at Ipswich. I'm going to come to a chat quickly. Russ is just there. Go on, Russ. Yeah, just watch January build against France. Understand? Yeah, it's a brilliant goal. He's been doing this. He's been doing the rounds, Russ, on the socials. I think quickly, I'll come back to the managerial merry-go-round with Thomas Frank and Kieran McKenna and many other names in Enzo Maresca. But quickly about Ethan Nwaneri. I mentioned this when I was on Potsy's channel about is there not any youngsters coming through Arsenal that, you know, are at the point where Mikel might go, actually, you know what? He's the one to come through. I'm not saying to get through a whole host of them. It won't be like the class of 92 at Manchester United, but I think with Ethan Nwaneri, he's still young. I probably think he might be maybe the next one to possibly come through. I know there's lots of fuss about a lot of players, your Patinos, your Amari Hutchinson, who's actually gone to Ipswich, hasn't he? I think, is he at Ipswich now, is he? People forgot that, right? But the thing is, either it's a case of either Mikel might feel they're not ready, maybe he might not feel they're good enough, or they're not going to get the crack of the whip at Arsenal. You've got obviously the goalkeepers out on loan at Wrexham, Arthur and Conquo. That's what it comes down to. It's as simple as that. But normally, I think Ethan Nwaneri, I think he's one to look out for. I think he's the one name for me that I'm looking at, thinking he might have a chance of probably Mikel saying, you know what, he's the next one to come through to get a berth in the first team. Obviously with a bit of patience, but we'll see. But yeah, back to Kieran McKenna. I'm sure he was linked with the Brighton job before the end of the season, or when it came about that Roberto De Zerbi was obviously not going to be there anymore. But I think a lot of people, I watched quite a bit of people's opinions in terms of sort of the journalists, and I watched the podcast on the Monday Night Football, is it, with MNF, with Sutton, Rory Smith and Mark Chapman. It's a tough one because I can see it from both points of view. I don't think Kieran McKenna is going to stay at Ipswich personally. I would like to see him do it. I would like to see him. You've done the work to get Ipswich back-to-back promotions. You've got them into the Premier League. He's still only 38. It's hard to say because it's not guaranteed that these jobs are going to come back round again. And I think that's the issue. Because it's not like, I can understand if it was one club and you thought, oh, you know what, I'm tempted, but you know, I might stay with Ipswich in a project and see how I do in my first season in the Premier League. But he's been mentioned with quite a few jobs. You know, Brighton, Manchester United, and Chelsea. Those are two massive football clubs and one a very progressive football club. I would defy any manager probably in his position. And it is easy from the likes of myself or podcasters or the journalists to say he should stay at Ipswich and they're giving him the opportunity. I get it, but you don't get that type of opportunity where you have three Premier League clubs, established Premier League clubs, big Premier League clubs wanting the same manager. United thing, I don't know, man. They're in such disarray, and it's I don't know. I don't know. And of course, Graham Potter's available for any sort of managerial jobs as well. He's turned down a couple of jobs. I think he turned down Ajax, and I think he turned down Leon, if I got that right. But yeah, I get it with Kieran McKenna, man. Like he's sought after. He's done a brilliant job at Ipswich. You're wanted by some very good clubs, man. And I don't think it's. I know I saw on Sky Sports News about 20 minutes ago that I think is it the owner at Ipswich is getting a flight back to the UK to talk about a contract extension to Ipswich. But if I was a betting man, I don't think Kieran McKenna will be leading Ipswich into the Premier League for the 24-25 season. I might be wrong. I don't think it will happen because I just think the temptation is too much. The temptation is too much. I don't think it would hurt for him to stay at Ipswich. I do generally think he's thought of that highly. That listen, no manager. Football has changed a lot. Let me rephrase this. Football's changed a lot in terms of the longevity of managers at one club. It's not the days of Wenger or Fergie. You know, when David Moyes was at Everton. That type of longevity is few and far between. So the jobs will come back around. But I understand the dilemma with Kieran McKenna. I really, really do. Let me come to chat quickly. Go on, Ross. You said I think he's stay at the Tractor Boys. I don't know, Ross. I think he's gonna go, mate. If I'm gonna be honest, I do think I can see that move happening. There's a lot going on. I mean, we've had the rumors about Ten Hag today. It's. I'm not a United fan. That's not great, man. You're preparing for a cup final, and you know there's reports going that you're going to be sacked, probably irrespective of the result. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what happens at United because, like I said, there's a lot of managers that are available, and there's a lot of managers who you could tempt to a club like Manchester United and Chelsea. And obviously, the Brighton job's available as well. I actually don't think if Kieran McKenna left Ipswich, I think the Brighton job would be a better fit. That's my own personal opinion. I think Chelsea, you know, the culture they have of managers there. I mean, under Bowley, I think is that 4 managers they've already had? Crazy. And then you have this is my opinion. I think say if United do move on Ten Hag and Thomas Frank, you know what? I think he's due, no disrespect to Brentford because he's done brilliant, but he's due a big job at a football club, man. Could you see Thomas Frank at Manchester United? Never say never, man. That may sound a bit wild, but you never say never. Honestly, never say never. I think Enzo Maresca, who's a Leicester City manager, I think he'll go to Chelsea. I know there's rumors about Ruben Amorim coming and them bringing in Victor Gyökeres as a striker, to the strikers there as well. Again, links, nothing concrete. I'm not in the know, believe me. But yeah, I think Thomas Frank is an outsider to United, Enzo Maresca to Chelsea, and I could see Kieran McKenna at Brighton. I could see him at Brighton. I'm going to be honest. I could see him at Brighton. But yeah, it's going to be fascinating, man. Like I said, there's a lot of managers out of work. People said, Poch should go to United. I don't see that happening, personally. But Thomas Frank, I think, to me, he's in a similar situation to me as I saw with Nuno Espirito Santo at Wolves. He did brilliant there, but I think he took them to a point where it wasn't going to get any better, maybe in terms of a trophy or maybe a higher league place finish. I think Thomas Frank is in that sort of situation. It's a tough season for Brentford last season. It was a tough season. And if the opportunity is there for him to move, I think he'll go. And I think Ivan Toney will go. Depending, see where you go. Ivan Toney, people talk about him going to Spurs, possibly Chelsea. Time will tell, man. Listen, we're not even in June yet, and all this talk is happening. But yeah, the managerial merry-go-round, as I put in the title, it's real, man. There's some good managers out there, some up and coming managers out there, some really good sort of ambitious guys out there. So I totally understand the Kieran McKenna plight, man. I do. It's a tough choice. But I guess time will tell. But people, like I said, man, and before we go on to the next segment, people, if you don't know what to do by now, then this is what you absolutely should do. There you have it, people. Surround little intro video into subscribing to Albert J TV. For the audio listeners, you're probably thinking, what is that music? That is what it was. People on YouTube, smash the like button. If you're watching on Facebook, hit the link if you haven't already, which I'm sure you have done. And also, this is going on Instagram Live, which I will put back out on the actual Instagram feed. So if you didn't watch it live, you can watch it back again. And obviously, people, retweet the hell out of it on the X feed as well. Let me do that right now, people, as we talk. And there you go. Bang. Bullseye. So yeah, people, Arsenal talk. Of course. Where do I start? My predictions before a ball kick this season, I actually got my top three right. I said City would win the league. I said Arsenal would finish second and Liverpool would finish third. For fourth place, I actually went Manchester United because I thought they would do the necessary business after finishing third and winning the Carabao Cup, beating Newcastle in the final last season. But obviously, it's been a very tumultuous season for them. But I got the top three right. I thought Arsenal fall a little bit short, but when I say fall a little bit short, and then sort of fast forward back to now that the season's done, the one win in December period of last year is probably, if you look at it, it's probably why we haven't won a league title, because you can't argue with the second half of the season in terms of after Christmas and coming into the new year. You know, you've lost one game, which was a really pivotal game, and we drew away to Man City. Other than that, we won the rest of the games. It has been title winning form without winning the title. It's that simple. You're coming up against a juggernaut of Manchester City, who have got the experience of getting over the line. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, 4 Premier League titles in a row. I think is it 6 out of 7 years or 7 out, right? People would correct me in the chat if I got that wrong. It's difficult. Now, it's plausible for any Arsenal fan, wherever you sit in the power pit, whether you love the manager, like the manager, don't like the manager, get someone else in to get us over the line, keep the manager doing a good job. So many permutations, so many questions, so much opinions, but I'll give you mine. At the start of the season, in terms of what I expected of Arsenal, I said I thought we'd be competitive for the league. We was, but I thought we'd finish second. We did. I said we'd get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and we did. And I wanted to see us go deep into the domestic cup competitions. And that is my bugbear. Because if you look at our record, not just last season, if you actually look at the record since we won the FA Cup in 2019, it's not great in the domestic cup competitions. And I understand why Arsenal fans might be hacked off with that, because what we're trying to breed into this group of players, although there's been a lot of progression, is a winning mentality. And the way you get that is you win trophies. They need to get that feeling of being winners as a manager of Mikel Arteta and as the group of players to win silverware. Because if you go through the Arsenal squad or team, whatever way you want to phrase it, with the exception of Havertz, who's joined, Jorginho, who's joined, Saka was part of the 2018-19 FA Cup win. He's part of the squad. He got rested towards the back end of the season, actually, that season. There's not a lot of winning. There's not a lot of guys that have won trophies and big games of football. And that is the fractions and the percentage and the fine margins you talk about in football as to why Arsenal haven't got over the line. I was there for the Villa game. That was a killer. It was an absolute killer. People talk about the 2 defeats to Villa, the defeat away to Newcastle, Fulham taking 4 points off of Arsenal. Actually, you know what? The away game at Villa, we should have got a point, and we would have got one if it wasn't for um, referee guesswork. Because I thought both teams didn't do enough to win the game personally. But yeah, we got robbed of a point at Villa Park. But like I said, I come back to the point that when we got to the turn of the year, our form was exceptional, but City's form was more than exceptional, and that's why they're league champions. Let me come to the chat quickly. Let's see what Russ is saying, man. Context: we competed till the last game. Next season, the squad needs to be deeper so we can go deeper in the FA Cup. Don't forget the format of the Europa chat. UCL group stages got in more games as well. Yes, that's the thing. Football changed a lot, man, because it depends on the players, obviously. If they buy into if they buy into what the manager's saying, that goes for any club, by the way. In terms of, there's so much football, it's coming out of our ears. That's why you look at a player like Leandro Trossard. He didn't start loads and loads of games this season, but he's our finisher. He's our Freddie Ljungberg. I think, including the Community Shield, he had 17 goals this season from a guy that doesn't start. That's phenomenal contribution to the team. For me, he's still the best finisher at the club. So that's what I mean. You need players that are going to come in and do more than a job, and Trossard did more than a good job. He's a very, very good, intelligent footballer. He's only 29, so he's in the peak of his career. So I think that's the thing. He can hold his head up because he's been a very key and influential figure in terms of getting very important goals for Arsenal this season. Kai Havertz, I think, ended up with what was it 16, 17 goal contributions? That's just alone in the Premier League. Declan Rice got 15 goal contributions in the Premier League. That's a phenomenal return for a guy who's never ever hit those numbers before in the Premier League. But no disrespect to West Ham, he's come to a better club and a bigger club. He's got better players around him, so he's excelled in. Like I said, to come to Arsenal Football Club, playing a 6, playing an 8, and have 15 goal contributions is absolutely exceptional for a player that plays in his position. This is why the recruitment, and Russ has mentioned about the squad being better. I expect quite a lot of business for Arsenal this summer transfer window, because we actually do have some players at the club that we can get some decent monetary value and move them on. Arteta's shown that he can be ruthless in terms of the goalkeeping situation. He needs to do that with the playing squad. It's needs must. I saw the sort of the interviews from the players after the Everton game, and some of the players come out on social media and put some of the posts, and there was obviously there was massive disappointment, and you saw they gave it their all, man. They absolutely gave it their all. We came up short. And I think I mentioned this before. I mentioned it before on my channel. I mentioned it before on various other channels that I've gone on as a guest. But before I come into that, people and audio listeners, my YouTube Tottenham wife is in the chat. She's also a moderator for the channel. I think she does know that because I've told her that she is. Holly, we will be on Euro 2024 duty. Me and the amazing Holly will be joining forces again, people, to do some content for the Men's Euro 2024. So people, look out for that. Going to get some great guests on, and I love it. I love this time of year because it's around my birthday time, and it's tournament football. And I love my international football, love tournament football. We don't get it very often, which is why I love it so much. And me and Holly can put our Arsenal colours and Tottenham colours to the side, or put it in the laundry to wash for another day, and then we can tear limbs off each other, Holly, of course. Here we go. I've just come back from Spoons, and yes, up the Euros. Holly does frequent the local Spoons across the UK. It doesn't just stick to her neck of the woods. Well, Holly, have a glass for me, but you obviously come back home. So when you go back indoors, have a glass of, I don't know what you got. If you've got Fanta, lemonade, Coca-Cola in the fridge, have one for me, because you know I'm not a drinker. But big up Holly Hotspurs, man, for my little introduction in there. Actually, Holly, stay and watch the chat. But let me go back to what I was saying. Yeah, I've said on various channels, and on my channel, what we'll do, boss, of course. For Arsenal to win the league title, you have to hit in excess of 90 points. Absolute must. We're talking about a City side back in 2018-2019 season that got 100 points. 100 points. The following season, they got 98 points. And Liverpool came second with 97. Even going back to the season just gone, City hit 91 points. There's been a couple seasons where they've hit under 90, but even if you go back to last season, they finished on 89, I think it was. To be honest, they had already won the league with a couple of games to go. So for me, that's why they finished on 89. But even look at the season Liverpool won the Premier League title in the COVID season. Liverpool hit 99 points to win that Premier League. Arsenal have to do that to win the league. It is as simple as that. The fantastic Chelsea side of 04-05 and Mourinho, that team had some serious players. They hit 95 points that season under Mourinho. 95 points. That will get you the league title. Unless you're completely unlucky like Liverpool were in the oh god, what season was it? I've lost my memory. Sorry, 17-18 they got 100 points. Sorry, the following season 18-19 they got 98. So that's the levels you got to hit. Even the Invincibles, I think, hit 90 points if I've got that right. So you have to hit that. Where can we get those extra points? If you go back to last season, like I said, in December, the one win in 7 at the time, I think, sort of approaching December or in December. That will get you the points. That will get you the league title. You know, for the the Villa game, I do think we would have gone on to win every other game after that, personally. And that would have put us on, 92 points. And that would have got it done. So that's what Arsenal have to do from a statistical point of view in terms of hitting that 90 plus point mark. And sometimes that may not be enough, but generally speaking, that will get the job done 100 million%. So that's from a statistical point of view. As Russ has already mentioned, it's a squad depth. This is a big summer for Arsenal because I think for the first time, I can say the first time in a long time, maybe first time ever, we might get some very good or decent monetary value in the club. But we have to move these players on with Mikel Arteta being ruthless and saying, you know what? I know what I need. I know what I need to move on. Let's make it happen. Because that's the one thing looking at Arsenal. Yes, we've done some great recruitment business. The big money on Rice, bringing in Havertz, who's turned out to be a good signing for the definitely turned the year 2024 has been amazing. You know, the growth and development of Saliba and Gabriel, the levels that Ben White has maintained and upped. Tomiyasu, when he's fit, more than dependable. Great to see Jurgen Timber get some minutes the last game of the season. And it'd be interesting to see how Martinelli does next season when Timber's fit. Because I think there's a couple of things with Gabriel Martinelli. Is one thing I said 2 seasons ago, I want to see him do better, is have a better goals rate, and he did that. He got 15 Premier League goals. But for me, when you play in a position that he plays in, you have to be hitting double figures for goals and assists. No excuses. Has to happen. Has to happen. And the reason why he doesn't get enough assists for me is because he still plays in a way that's tunnel vision. Get your head up. It's such an easy thing to correct. And I'll give you an example. When we played Manchester United away at Old Trafford, we won 1-0 with a Trossard goal. And Erdegaard slips in Martinelli down Manchester United's right-hand side. He goes on that run. If you go and watch it back, he doesn't get his head up once. And it's those minute, small fraction details that you need to prove, because if he gets his head up, he might find somebody in a better position, or you have to stick that ball in the back of the net. Yes, she made the goalkeeper work. Nana tipped out with a bar, but if you go back and watch it again, got to get your head up. 2 seasons ago, the 2-2 draw at Anfield, we had our Michael Thomas moment when he gets the ball. You've got to make that pass to Bukayo Saka. Those are the 2 examples I'm talking about of Martinelli. So it'd be interesting to see when Timber does come back, if it benefits him or it doesn't. Because I've seen whispers, whether it be amongst the Arsenal fans or even sort of rival fans, saying we need to upgrade on Martinelli. Competition, yes. Upgrade on him. Listen, I'm not a scout, so I don't know every potential target in terms of wingers in Europe. But I think if people are looking at people like Diaby and Leon Bailey, Kudos at West Ham, then that's what I think probably people are talking about. But it'd be interesting to see with Martinelli when Timber comes back, if it's beneficial to him, because I thought in the Everton game, I thought he played really, really well, because he started on the right where he had obviously Ben White there. So that helped a lot. But yeah, Timber coming back is going to be a massive benefit, man. 100%. Russ, you agree with me? It's true. I think it'd be interesting. Timber was a huge miss, man. Huge miss. So we'll see. But yeah, so for me, the recruitment is going to be interesting. When I say that, there's one thing I want Arsenal to do a bit better, because we're behind the 8 ball with the likes of Chelsea and Manchester City. Yes, they spend a lot of money to bring players in, but look at the player sales of Chelsea. Tammy Abrahams, brilliant money. Fikayo Tomori, brilliant money. Kurt Zuma, brilliant money. Man City, Sterling, Jesus, Zinchenko, Ferran Torres, Leroy Sane. They sell well, man. They sell well because they got sellable assets. We probably haven't got that in terms of that quality, in terms of what I've just reeled off. Pardon me, people. But we have got a bit more monetary value with potentially moving some of our players on than what we've had done in the last few years. Let's be honest. So that's one thing I'll be looking at through with Richard Garlick, who's obviously got a promotion because Vinay Venkatesham's gone, and also with Edu there. So it'd be interesting to see. But listen, there's loads of talk of Arsenal. There's Benjamin Sesko, very young, very raw. A lot of Arsenal fans would like him. I personally think you need a couple more seasons just to develop. But listen, if he's available and Mikel Arteta thinks he's the right fit, so be it. I'm a massive, massive fan of Victor Gyökeres, as people will know. I've spoken about this guy since December last year. It depends what his contract situation is now. I know at the time it was an £87 million release clause. At Sporting Lisbon, he's been amazing. I think is it 43 goal contributions from Victor Gyökeres, if I've got that correct. Doug, if you're in the chat, let me know, man. Google it quickly. Victor Gyökeres. I might just do it now, actually, if I can, while I'm talking to you guys. But that's who my personal who I'd like to get. But yeah, I think for Arsenal, it's definitely to get another midfield player in, whether that's to release Rice further up the pitch as an 8, or you get someone else who can do that job in a more advanced role and play Rice as a 6. I don't personally think Thomas Partey will be here. I'll stand by that. I know people were mesmerized and he's been brilliant in sort of the run-in with the title, but for me, I think the Thomas Partey story has come to an end, personally speaking. I'd be shocked if he's here next season. But then if he is going to be here, if he's not going to be here, they'll do well to get some money for him, man. I'll be honest with you. I think he's 30 now, Thomas Partey. The injuries have taken its toll, and trying to keep him fit, it would be difficult because he's missed a lot of games for Arsenal since he's been here, unfortunately. But the midfield area needs to get addressed, definitely. I would love someone like a Chieze at Arsenal. I think I'd love him. I think him, because the thing is, Erdegaard, if say for Erdegaard's out the team or he's injured, our creative aspect in the team goes down tenfold with him not being there. But him and Eze are very different players. Eze can glide across the pitch. He gets you further up the pitch. He goes beyond. Brilliant dead ball set piece as well with Roberto Eze. I would love him at Arsenal. I don't think it would happen personally, but listen, he'd be my choice. But there's a lot of players out there. People are talking about Who's the guy at Monaco? Oh God, is it Youssef Fofana? A lot of Arsenal fans have been raving about him, saying that's one player we must get. Not that we should look at, we must get. So there's a lot of love for him. Because what's one thing I think Arsenal never really have done, really, Russ. I don't know if you agree. Like, I just don't think we've ever really addressed our midfield area. We get one in, but not two when we're supposed to get two. But yeah, well, I love Eze, love him. Because the reason why I go on about Arsenal getting a striker, and that's a conundrum because obviously if you bring in a forward, then what you do with Kai Havertz? Because it's different if he's played poorly for the whole season. You think, you know what, he can sort of hold the bench and fight his way into the team. But he's had a good season. Probably a bit of an unsung hero to be honest with some. But I think we need a striker. I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to give you two examples. One for clutch moments, because your top elite level strikers across Europe, in those clutch moments, they deliver. I mentioned this before. We played Manchester City away at the Etihad this season when Odegaard's give the ball to Saka. Saka's not the ball across. A top class striker in that position, other than Jesus, buries that and puts us 1-0 up. The North London derby at home to Tottenham, 2-2 draw. Jesus robs the ball off James Maddison. Score that goal, we go 2-0 up, the game's done. It's the fine margins. People talk about Haaland and his general all-round play, which needs to be better, by the way, which it does. I don't share the same sentiment as Roy Keane calling him a League Two player, but in the box and as a finisher, he is absolutely elite. Your Kanes, your Lewandowskis, it's that level, that difference. Arsenal need to, for me, that's why we need a striker. It's for those clutch moments, 100,000,000%. But yeah, this good shout out Dewsbury Hall. He's been brilliant for Leicester, even in the relegated season from the Premier League back to the Championship. But he's been excellent. I think he got. Actually, you know what? Someone in the chat, let me know who got the Championship Player of the Year. Was it Dewsbury Hall? But yeah, he's had a really good season, man. And actually, he was a link with Arsenal. From what I understand, was it around January time? He got mentioned. I think he did. But yeah, man, I'm not going to do a long review. Listen, so I'm going to do some shows in terms of touching on transfers. I'll probably do it some on Lee Judge's TV, probably, as well as my own channel. Yes, people, give me Russ. Russ says, is that Somerville from Leeds? Doug, let me know, man. Yeah, Doug confirmed it. Crescencio Somerville. Yeah, thank you, people, man. Big up my chat, man. Big up to Doug, man. One of the very few Liverpool fans that I like, man. He talks sense and doesn't let his mouth run away with him. Doug got you well, man. The missus and little one. Great pictures, man. Yeah, man. Listen, I was exhausted, man. It's good to Russ. A guy didn't get to see him, man, but mate, I just couldn't get that ticket, man. Just couldn't get it. But yeah, big up Arsenal community. What was I gonna say? I probably will be doing a lot more watch longs or the same amount next season I was doing on my channel, Lee Judge's TV, only because I was in a very fortunate position in the last 3 years where one of my Arsenal mates was a season ticket holder. So he couldn't get to the games because of the job he does. So I've been sort of seeing, I've been in a fortunate enough position to go and watch a lot more games the last 3 years, but that's not going to happen going into 24-25 because he's going to take the ticket back and the whole kind of, the availability to get tickets. Everybody knows about the ballot system and trying to get tickets to watch Arsenal games impossible. So I'm in some very good WhatsApp groups, as Russ will testify. I know a couple of season ticket holders outside of some of the WhatsApp groups I'm in. Well, actually, free season ticket holders I know, and also there's a few other people who will try and obviously help me get tickets as well as trying to get it through the dreaded ballot system, people. But it is what it is, man. I will get to some games. Don't listen. I'll get to games of this season. Gonna be tough, but listen, it is what it is with the demand at the moment. Arsenal are back competing. We've got a team that we like again. We're going to the ground. We're enjoying the football. The atmosphere is amazing. Some of the songs I can't even bloody well keep up. Jesus Christ. big up to the Arsenal away fans this season. They've been superb. Big up Ross, Guns Yellow Ribbons, Trebs, Fergus, Capo Dan, Alex Walsh, Dell. There's loads of you guys, man. Loads of you guys. You've been fantastic. I class you guys as friends. I don't use that term very, very loosely, man. Big up Russ. We lots of love to Russ in there as well, man. Russ was on a comment. I don't point that up though. I don't point that up. But I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But listen, man, this season's been a blast, man. I've had some amazing opportunities in terms of going on BBC Radio London, 5 Live Sport, Sky Sports a couple of times now. Yeah, really, really sort of pinch me moments, man. And you guys have been on board. You've been incredibly supportive. Because when you do this YouTube thing, it isn't all positive because it's quite not even a ruthless sort of platform or industry. It's just there's a very dark and unpleasant side of YouTube and social media, which I've encountered on a personal level, as I've documented many times before. I have no problem talking about it because I think you can't forget it because, you know, some people just don't want the best for you, man. But that happens. But yeah, that's an amazing opportunity. So thank you for the amazing support from you guys. The work does continue, believe me. So yeah, man, this has been a blast this season. Got to go to some really good games, catch up some amazing gooners, particularly at Block 5. Lots of hugs, man hug, kisses, high fives, nudges, and everything's happened at the concourse, man. But yeah, and also I'll get down to some Arsenal women's games as well this season. Obviously, it's a designated home ground now for Arsenal ladies, the Emirates. So the demand's there. The demand is there. So can't knock it. But I'll tell you what, it's hard. I'll tell you what, to get into the Emirates, right? For Arsenal women's game, trust me, you need to get down earlier than you think because it takes forever. But yeah, thank you. You guys have been amazing, man. Honestly. Big up Doug, Russ. And when you watch this back either on YouTube or you watch it on the Twitter feed, or even on Instagram, then smash a like, retweet, and share. And thank you for your amazing support, people. But if you don't know what to do by now, people, this is what you should do. And there you have it, people. Thank you for watching. Smash the like button for Albert JTV. Weekly Surgery, episode 32. But yes, like I said, the content doesn't stop. I'll be doing the Euros, covering it with my YouTube Tottenham wife, Holly Agambar. We'll get on some great guests. Doug, you'll definitely be getting on, mate, because you're playing Germany. Will be playing Scotland the day before my birthday, which I will definitely watch, man. 100%. Doug, definitely going to get you on, man. We'll put the call out. Me and Holly will put the call out to you, man. Get your footballing expertise, knowledge. But people, big up the chat. Big up to all the guys watching live right now and for your retweets. It's much appreciated. That is Albert JTV over and out with the managerial merry-go-round, which will not stop, and the Arsenal season review. Weekly Surgery, episode 32. Look out for the downloads on audio for Spotify and Apple, and you'll hear my dulcet tones for the Arsenal review. And like I said, managerial merry-go-round. So people, as Albert JTV over and out. See you soon. God bless.